LeBron James is not just a basketball player, he's a global brand. The king, the chosen one, the GOAT, whatever you call him, his name carries weight. He's been at the top of the NBA for nearly 2 decades, but it hasn't been without its share of drama, controversies, and allegations. And recently the whispers have turned into something louder. People are starting to question whether LeBron's time at the top is over. Is he finally losing his grip on the throne? Let's start by addressing some of the most talked about aspects of LeBron's career today. For years, one of the most frequent criticisms about LeBron is the amount of control he's had over his teams. From Cleveland to Miami to Los Angeles, LeBron has always been more than just a player. He's been the general manager too. In fact, many people argue that he's had too much say in how teams are built around him. Some say it's not even about the Lakers anymore. It's all about LeBron's legacy. After all, he's been the one making moves behind the scenes. In Miami, he demanded to team up with Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh. In Cleveland, he brought back Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. And now in LA, he's had major input on moves like signing Russell Westbrook and trading for Anthony Davis. But here's the thing, when you control the team's destiny, there's a lot of pressure that falls on your shoulders. And when things go wrong, it's hard not to point the finger at LeBron. The problem with all this control is that it doesn't always lead to success. The Lakers' 2021 to 2022 season, for example, was a disaster. Despite LeBron's leadership and pushing for a move that brought Russell Westbrook to LA, the Lakers fell apart. They didn't make it out of the first round, and the Westbrook experiment was widely seen as a failure. Critics started asking, is LeBron's influence on the team actually hurting the Lakers? Instead of playing with a team that naturally fits his style, LeBron has seemed to create a team of his own making, and it hasn't worked as well as expected. Could it be that LeBron's obsession with controlling the roster has damaged his team's chemistry? But let's talk about something even more concerning, LeBron's performance on the court. LeBron James has defied age for years, but at 39, even the king is starting to show signs of slowing down. For so long, LeBron's biggest advantage was his physical dominance. His size, strength, and athleticism were unmatched, but those qualities are starting to fade. LeBron is no longer the explosive player he once was. His dunking ability has dropped, his step-back jumper isn't as lethal, and his defense has lost a step. He's still a great player, no doubt about it, but the question is, how much longer can he keep this up? The injuries have been piling up too. We've seen LeBron sit out games with ankle injuries, groin issues, and more. When he was younger, he could play through almost anything. Now it feels like every time he lands awkwardly or takes a hard fall, we all hold our breath. At 39, injuries are no longer just a part of the game. They could be the thing that brings him down. LeBron has been lucky so far in terms of staying healthy throughout his career, but as he gets older, we can't ignore the wear and tear on his body. Is it possible that he's finally starting to hit the wall? Some fans and critics are even starting to question the legitimacy of LeBron's accomplishments. Yes, he's a 4-time NBA champion. Yes, he's the NBA's all-time leading scorer. But let's be real, some of the records LeBron's been chasing have been seen by some as watered down. There's been talk about how LeBron's stats can be misleading. For example, he's been known to rack up points in meaningless games, blowouts, garbage time, and games where his team is already out of contention. While LeBron is undeniably great, some argue that he's padded his stats just to stay relevant in the GOAT conversation. People look at his career and think, he's been playing for so long, of course his numbers are high, but the question is, how much of this is truly earned in the big moments? Take the record for all-time points scored. It's an impressive achievement, no doubt, but think about it. LeBron has been in the league for 20 years. He's played in more than 1,300 games. Other greats like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, who weren't around as long, didn't have the luxury of padding stats in meaningless games. Some fans argue that while LeBron is a statistical machine, the way he's achieved these records is different from how the legends of the past did it. They did it in the heat of competition, in tight games, in the postseason. But LeBron, he's had to grind through seasons where his team was just average, collecting stats and non-clutch moments to keep his legacy intact. Now let's take a look at his leadership style. LeBron has always been known as a vocal leader, someone who demands excellence from his teammates, but in recent years his leadership has been called into question. While it's true that LeBron brings a lot of experience and knowledge to the table, it's also true that his leadership can sometimes seem selfish. We've seen him not so subtly point out when his teammates mess up or when a coach doesn't make the right call. It's almost like LeBron's leadership has turned into a my way or the highway mentality, and that kind of leadership doesn't always mesh well with other personalities in the locker room. The Lakers' most recent struggles have highlighted this problem. When LeBron doesn't get the help he wants, he seems to disengage. His body language becomes a reflection of the team's performance, and we've seen him visibly frustrated more often than ever. This isn't the LeBron of old, the guy who kept his head high and kept pushing his team forward no matter what. Now, when things don't go his way, you can see the frustration on his face. Maybe this shift in attitude is a sign that LeBron's reign is coming to an end, but is it really the end of LeBron James, or are we just watching a chapter close before the next one begins? We've seen LeBron defy expectations time and time again. He's come back from being counted out, and he's found ways to dominate even when it seemed impossible. Maybe we've all been too quick to judge. Maybe LeBron has one last run left in him. After all, he's done the impossible before. Why couldn't he do it again? But as we sit here watching his game slow down, hearing the whispers of fans and analysts alike, we have to face the fact that LeBron's career is nearing its twilight. He may still be an all-time great, but the reality is he's no longer the undisputed king. The league is evolving and LeBron is evolving with it. But is he evolving fast enough to keep up with the young stars like Luka, Giannis, and Jokic? Can LeBron remain a dominant force in a league that's becoming more competitive every year? We're witnessing the end of an era, whether we want to admit it or not. LeBron James' legacy is already cemented. He's one of the greatest of all time, no doubt about it. But the real question is, will the LeBron James of 2024 be remembered as the final version of the king? Or will we look back and realize that the end came quietly, with a drop-off we didn't see coming? Only time will tell.